everyone, welcome back to the channel. Playing with a lot of new things. We've got a new intro card that I may or may not use ever again. It kind of came in an 11 p.m. creative blah blah blah, where I was like, I wish it was spring. I want to redo my branding because I want to redo my branding every 6 months. Thank you, SCAD, for making me think that I am nothing more than a brand. But it's also really fun. We're also going to try a new layout kind of spread that you'll see me put together. I'm not going to elaborate on it because it's going to unfold before your eyes. And we also have new music. I wanted something a little bit more ethereal, a little bit more lo-fi, and a little bit less electronic. But it was also sentimental because I took a track by Lofi Geek, which, by the way, if you don't listen to Lofi Geek's lo-fi, you are missing out. It is the best lo-fi. He has Christmas lo-fi. I hate Christmas music, but I listened to his Christmas lo-fi over the holidays, and it made me enjoy winter music again for the first time ever. So you should check him out if you've never heard of him. But I took one of his tracks because he is copyright free, which is, again, such a blessing. He has so many songs. Like, again, check him out, especially if you're a content creator. Like, so many great options. And then I do this thing where I record voice memos. I've always had a thing with sound. It is both one of my biggest triggers, specific sounds are, but also something that brings me great joy. Like, and when I say sounds, I mean, like, well, I guess let me just explain. The bird chirping that you hear is from a voice memo taken on my parents' deck in 2018, and so I wanted a little bit more nature vibes, so I decided to layer the songs and see how they played, and I thought it worked out kind of like one of those background ambience videos. And I was playing, I honestly might do a non-voiceover video because it was so calming to listen to, and I don't know if that's just because I have a sentimental attachment to the birds that are chirping. But I was replaying this voice memo, and it actually had our family dog and his collar jingling and his feet pattering around the wood. And I started crying listening to this voice memo because, unfortunately, that pupper is no longer with us. And it was really hard when he died. And so I just got a little emotional. I hadn't listened to the voice memo in years. Like, again, I take these 30-minute voice memos a lot of the times, not with the intention of going back and playing them within like a week. Sort of like my commonplacing, I don't really intend to go back to this, or my journaling, I don't intend to go back to it within like a week or so. It's not something I want to pull up and listen to or reread like for fun. It is for that long-term purpose, and so it just made me really emotional to be able to hear that, and then to pair it with a song like the one playing. I don't know, it just felt really special. So you'll have to let me know how you like the music. If you hate it, please don't be afraid to tell me, even though I just went on that sappy story, right? Like, it's fine. You can tell me if you love it, if you hate it. And again, go check out Lofi Geek. He is great to journal to study to write to, anything you need. But I feel like I have a lot to talk about in this video. I feel like I have a lot that's been going on, like good stuff. Like, I have been having revelation after accomplishment after revelation after thing to talk about. So we probably won't fit it all in. I'll start with what I'm commonplacing about. I was writing the second book of the trilogy that I'm writing, which I finished, by the way. Check out my Instagram or follow me on Instagram so you can see those updates. But I finished the first draft, and there is a part of the story where one of the characters gifts another one of the characters perfume, and it was interesting for me to write that because I have not worn perfume since sophomore year of high school. I used to be a dedicated user of Victoria's Secret's Love Spell, and then between sophomore and junior year was kind of the year where I kind of discovered sustainability, zero waste, environmentalism, minimalism, spirituality, and I was doing a lot of documentary watching, especially of things like on veganism. I'm not vegan or vegetarian. I try to eat that way when possible, but it's not like an everyday thing. But one of the things that I did a lot of research on was perfume and scents, especially in personal care products and cleaning products. And I have really sensitive skin. Again, this is all just personal. Please, I hope you know I'm not trying to like influence you or trying to tell you what's right and what's wrong. Live your life the way that works best for you. But I had given up scent because of a lot of reasons. I have really sensitive skin. I noticed that when I switched to scent-free detergent, my body acne lowered completely. And I don't know, I just kind of gave it up because it was one of those things where I was told that it was bad by all these like holistic and wellness and spiritual and environmentalist people, and I never went back to look at it. I think the research was sound back then too, but I think every once in a while it's okay to kind of go back and check yourself. You know, we live in an age of misinformation and clickbait, so, and I do think especially in the wellness and spiritual industries, there can be a lot of, I don't know, telling you things are bad when they really aren't. A lot of toxic positivity, a lot of the whole clean movement. There's not any, like, everything's chemicals, everything can be toxic, that sort of thing. And so I just wanted to go back inspired by me writing a character, giving another character perfume, when that is never something I would necessarily want or ask for as a gift. I decided to go back and research it again. The article you see printed is from a blog. It's just from a company website, from, again, one of those holistic brands. But the reason I printed this one is because I had gone and read 3 or 4 different studies, like complete academic studies. I know how to research properly, I promise. Like validated in medical journals, in science journals. And this article on this blog was actually well researched and summed up everything that those studies said in a much shorter and layman's term kind of way. So I did end up printing this one just because I feel like, again, it summarized everything. And then I don't write the credits or the sources and the margins during the video because I didn't have them pulled up on my computer, but I went back and added them, and I made sure to include all of the studies as well. So if you're very curious, go ahead and leave a comment and I will link some of the articles and studies that I read. Very interesting. Yeah, perfume is still bad for the environment and for your health. And again, I think it depends on how much you use, right, and how often you're using it. And everyone also is different. Everyone's body is gonna, if you find that you're sensitive to it, maybe stop it, you know, or kind of do a test where like you for a month go scent free and see how you feel, sort of thing. But if you're curious, yeah, I'll link them down below. It was also just getting me curious because the reason the character gifted the perfume was for memory's sake. The character had explained that they have a favorite scent because it's attached to memories of peace, blackberry bushes, and roses. If you've ever smelled blackberry roses, like when they're blooming and they haven't fruited yet, mixed with honeysuckle in like early summer, late spring, that scent is divine, and it transports me back to such a safe and secure feeling. And of course, I think a lot of writers do little things like that, or where do they get the idea for that? That's so oddly specific. It probably is something they know. Like if their character has like a very specific quirk, it's either a quirk that they have or an interest that they have, or someone they know has that very specific quirk. And it could be someone like a coworker, or it could be a best friend, or it could be them, you know. But I do think a lot of writers pull things like that. So I did a lot of internet research because I am hopelessly devoted to these characters, and also it's the scent that I really like. And I found this perfume Daisy Dream by Marc Jacob. Again, I don't want to support or influence anyone to buy a perfume, and I literally have not smelled this. I just looked at the notes on, I think, Scentbird's website, and it's blackberry and jasmine. And jasmine smells very similarly to honeysuckle. It's just night blooming, and so I figured it would be a good scent. So I went as far as to literally find the perfume that my character would have given. And I'm considering buying or going to a department store and trying to find it and smell it and see if it's what I want. And also considering purchasing like a small sample size, because scent is very strongly connected to our memories. Scent and sound are like my favorite kind of senses. And so I think about all the time, like whenever I get married, buying a perfume and wearing it on my wedding day, and then kind of only wearing it for special occasions like anniversaries or like my husband's birthday, something like that, just to kind of bring back those memories. Not planning on getting married anytime soon. But yeah, it's just something to think about. And also part of the reason that I wanted to go back and re-research this thing is, one, that the science can change, new information can come out. Two, I'm not as an impressionable teenager and I actually know how to research. And three, I read the book Cultish, which I think especially if you're American, you should read the book Cultish. I'll link it down below. It is a book about cults, essentially, and specifically language within cults, language use. And the reason I think everyone should read it is because it doesn't just go into things like, especially if you're like in the spiritual community, I think that you should read the book specifically, because it isn't just about cults that are crazy, that we've heard about on the news, that result in tragedy. It talks about Dr. Joe Dispenza, I can't say his last name, whatever. And it talks about the New Age community. And if you follow me on Tumblr, I have a very spiritual blog over there, and in my about section it says that I feel like I'm too New Age for witchcraft and I'm too witchy for New Age. And so reading that section about New Age spirituality, and like about the weird cult called QAnon, and seeing all this like overlap, it made me like really sit down and think and be like, I need to go back and like, I don't know, it just kind of made me pause. And I think a lot of the times we just need to pause, right? At the end of the day, I decided like, no, I still believe what I believe. I'm still not necessarily that deep into New Age where I consider myself New Age and I subscribe to all of their beliefs and blah, blah, blah. But also, yeah, I think learning how to pause and learning how to think critically is important. And I think the book Cultish kind of teaches us kind of how to do that. And so I think it's really good. The reason I say American specifically is because it focuses on cults in America and like multi-level marketing and things that have happened in America. It also talks a lot about social media and stuff like that. So that was another one of my updates. That was the most recent nonfiction book I read. I read Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. Finished it. Didn't like it. I did not like it, but it really annoyed me, okay? You know, like it's one of those where like, while I was reading it, I was like, okay, fine, I'll finish it. I'm enjoying myself. She must be doing something right because I'm still reading and I want to know. But I just wanted to know if I was right because the plot twists were so obvious But I was like, oh my god, I have to see if I'm right. I have to keep reading. And then the more I read, the more I was like, the first half of the book was like unbearable for me, and this like unbearably bad. The second half was better. My main quarrels with it were that the main character feels very much like a pick-me girl who's like, oh my god, I am so edgy. When like, I'm sorry, bitchy, but you're just basic and hate the world. Like, and then I didn't like the second half of the book because I can't say what I want to say because it's a spoiler. But I did not like how they depicted. It's also about a cult, so it was very timely after reading Cultish. But I didn't really like how they described and depicted the head of the cult, because I much prefer the way that kind of character is depicted in many other books. Felt very Halloween-y. It would be a great book for like a quick, super easy, chill Halloween read, I think, if you want to try it. Just because I don't like a book doesn't mean you won't love it. So that's another thing. And then I picked up the Perfectionist's Guide to Losing Control, because I've been called a perfectionist my whole life in a very, by some people in a negative way, and other people they've just kind of noted, oh, you seem a bit like a perfectionist. I have control issues. And not to a bad, I personally don't think, to a bad degree. I'm self-aware of it, but I manage it. And a lot of those control issues come from being a perfectionist. And let me just say, I'm only like 10% of the way through the book, maybe 12%, but I love it already. I have never read a self-help book and felt so seen. Like, I've read things like The 4 Agreements or Becoming Supernatural or even like Atomic Habits. What else have I read? I've read The Surrender Experiment, and like I can read those books and be like, what's the other one? The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I've read that one, and that one I was like, I already knew all of this. But this book I'm actually reading, and I'm like, holy shit, I was just attacked. There's a part of the book where it says like, this type of perfectionist might have like 10 documents for the same thing, and it gave an example of like a dog walking business, and it was like file 1, dog walking business 1, file 2, dog walking business 2, file 3, dog walking business post Thanksgiving, dog walking business, open this one, dog walking business, this is the final one, dog walking business, no, this is the final one. And if I read that out loud to my boyfriend on FaceTime, and then I opened my documents for the book that I was working on and have been working on since 2018, and I read him the file names, and it was very much like book title draft 1, book title this time, trying again, didn't work out, wait, open this one, no, this one, 2023, open this one, and all, like, so I felt very called out in a good way. It's a very good book. It's a very loving book. It approaches everything in a very, very loving, good way. Would recommend. I will keep you updated on how I continue to like it. Other things I wanted to talk, there was so much I wanted to talk about. I'm cutting out Fairies now. These are by Spitblossoms on Tumblr. Someone asked about it in a comment on my most recent video before this one. So the fairies that are in every single one of my pages are Spitblossoms. Love their art. I found them on Tumblr, but they have an Instagram as well that I will link down below. Lots of mentions this video too. But other than that, I have been obsessively writing. Like I said, I finished a book. It's 132,000 words, and I probably wrote all 132,000 words in 2 weeks, not even, week and a half. I've essentially been doing nothing in a cave except for writing. It's bad. My boyfriend will be like trying to talk to me, and I'm like, no. Or like, he's 3 hours behind me time difference wise, so he'll go to work and he'll like say goodnight to me, and I'll be like, good night, before he goes to work, because usually by the time he gets home from work, again, 3 hour time difference, I'm asleep. But lately, like for like the past, again, since I've been working on this, he will come home from work and I will still be up and I'll be like, holy fucking shit, I need to go to bed. And he's like, yeah. Like, it's like 2 or 3 a.m. I'm the kind of person where I am a monster when it comes to writing. Like, once I start, I cannot stop. I am so hopelessly devoted to this world. I get so sucked into any writing project I do that, like, they are my flesh and blood. They are my children. They are my life. So yeah, not saying I wrote 132,000 words in like 2 or 3 weeks as like a flex. I'm saying it to say that if you love books, or if you are a writer, or if you have any hobby like painting or video games even, something that you get sucked into for hours and hours and hours, I hope you find time to be able to get sucked so hopelessly into it that you just forget time exists, because wow, does it feel great. And then to have, like, I finished the second book, right? And like, I'm immediately like, all right, time to start book 3. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should give myself some time to focus on some other hobbies for a hot minute. But like I said, I hope you get to enjoy such lovely time. And the video is ending, so I hope you guys have a lovely day. You 100% deserve it, and I will see you all next time.